Hey guys, it's Tomatoda. Today's video is part 2 of a 3-part series. And in part 1, I showed you how to make the skull cane. So if you want to see that, then please watch the previous video. I'll put a link in the description box below. And in part 2 here, I'm going to show you guys how to make this into a patterned cane or a patterned slab. First, I'm going to take a strip of black clay, or it can be whatever color that you want, and I pulled it through the thickest setting on my pasta machine. I'm gonna wrap it around the skull's head, starting from the jaw. Then I'm going to add a second layer starting from the jaw as well, because my black strip isn't as thick as the jaw, even though it does look like it's very close enough. But if I just wrapped it all the way around, there's a possibility of distortion, so I want to try to be as accurate as possible for this part. If you need more than one strip, go ahead. Just keep layering it on until it fills up. Then I'm going to cut off the excess, making sure that it's like the same level as the bottom of the jaw, and then I'm going to add another strip at the bottom. I'm going to cut off the excess in that area so that my cane looks like a complete circle. And don't forget to check if the backside also looks like a circle as well. I'm going to also add one final layer all around. Now it's time to reduce. And just like I did in my last video, I'm gonna cut this cane in half so that I can use it for my next video. With this half, I'm going to continue reducing it until it's the size that I want, and then even it out with a glass panel and cut off the wonky ends. So typically, I like my canes to be 1 inch thick, which is 2.54 centimeters, but my cane isn't long enough since I'm only working with half of my original size. So I'm gonna cut this cane into 2 centimeter sections, which will leave me with 7 mini canes. If your cane is a lot longer than mine, you'll end up with many more mini canes, and that will actually make things easier for you later on, but I gotta work with what I've got. So here, I'm just lightly reshaping the canes into a more circular shape. Now I'm going to use my blade to make a mark right down the middle of the skulls on both ends of the cane. Then I'm going to connect the two bottom marks so that I can see which way my cane twisted when I was reducing, and I'll twist them back straight. Do that for all the mini canes. Now it's time to decide how to stack them together because I have a limited amount. Like I said before, if you have a lot, you just kind of put them all together and then reduce it just a little bit and you pretty much have a big pattern or a slab ready to go. But I have only 7, so I'm gonna stack them in this way. First, I'm taking 4 canes, making sure that they're all facing the same way. Check the backside as well. And then I'm going to roll a thin rod of clay and lay it in between the cleavages. Flip it over and fill in the cleavages here too. Then take 3 canes and repeat the same process. After that, stack them on top of each other and make sure that the front and the back sides both fit nicely. Fill in the other gaps on the side with more black clay and then cut off the excess so it becomes a nice rectangular cane. The edges here are pretty thin, which might warp the image inside because it's just so close to the skulls. I'm going to thicken it just a little bit more with another layer of black clay. Instead of wrapping it all in one go, I'm actually cutting it off at the edges so that I can have sharp corners. I mentioned this in part 1, but when you reduce squares or rectangles, you have to keep an eye on the sharp corners. Then using my acrylic roller, I'm gonna roll it the long way to reduce the cane. Let's see what the image looks like inside. Pretty good. Here, I'm slicing it into thin sheets, or as thin as my human hands possibly can. Someday, I'll buy one of those cane slicing machines. Like, they're so expensive, but they look like they're probably worth it. Someday. Anyways, Here, I have all my slices out, and you can see that some of them turned a little bit wonky, like the skulls are either squished or like just skinnier. So I'm going to fix the wonky parts if I can by carefully and slowly pulling on them. Then taking a sheet of parchment paper, I'm going to put a flat sheet of black clay rolled through my pasta machine on the medium thickness, and I'm going to add my canes on top. They need to fit in a pattern, so I do have to cut a bit here and there and put them together like a puzzle. It is a bit of a struggle initially, but after like the first few, I can see a consistent pattern and the cutting process becomes very automatic. Like I keep mentioning, if you had a lot of mini canes and ended up making a big pattern cane, this portion would be a lot easier, I think. After everything is laid out, I'm going to put another sheet of parchment paper on top and roll everything flat and evenly until it's just one nice smooth slab. Now, what you do with the slab from here on out is your choice. You can make a trinket dish, you can maybe wrap it around a pencil, but what I did is the traditional earrings using a clay cutter. I also had some leftover pattern canes, so I decided to make like a needle tool. I got this idea from, I forgot the name, but I'll show you guys here. She posted it on Instagram and I thought it was a great idea. Like her account has a lot of helpful tips and a lot of good ideas that she shares and information, so definitely go check her out. And what I basically did is just made the basic shape with black clay and slapped some of the canes on there and rolled it around. I also wanted to make rings because I thought it would be kind of cool to have skull patterned rings, but I've never made polymer clay rings before and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Like I tried a few different methods, but nothing really turned out right. So I just gave up and I mixed everything into a gray ball of clay. And that was the end of that. So I hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye!